Hi guys! So obviously the last video I put up was of just a couple of clips I got from his labor and delivery and a little bit after. I would have filmed more, but it was a little bit stressful for the most part. The part that I did film was the very beginning after I think I had just gotten hooked up to Pitocin. So I went in for my induction on the 18th. I was supposed to go in at 8 a.m. and they called me about 7 and told me that they had rooms but they didn't have enough nurses to start my induction and everything, so that they would call me back by, I think it was 12 if they had room, and if they didn't call me back, I was supposed to call them back. So they ended up calling me around then, I think, and they told me that I think it was around 1. Was it? No, it wasn't 1, it was 12. They called me right before 12 and they told me that they didn't have a room yet, but that there was 2 ladies that were really close to being able to deliver, so they would probably have a room pretty fast. So I was laying down taking a nap on the couch because I didn't really sleep the night before, and they ended up calling back like 20 minutes later and saying that they did have a room available so that I could go ahead and come in. So Aubrey was already at my grandma's house. She spent the night there because we were supposed to get up really early at like 8. So she was over there, and so we went into the hospital, got checked in at, I was admitted at 1:35 p.m. and they right away started my antibiotics since I was group B strep positive, and then when I had started me on Pitocin, I was already having contractions on my own, but they weren't like painful or anything. And then I have this all written down on my phone, but I don't have my phone in here, so it's really super helpful. After they kept upping my Pitocin, obviously my contractions got stronger, got closer together. They were definitely worse with him than they were with Aubrey. With Aubrey, I didn't get an epidural until I was 8 centimeters. And with him, I went ahead and asked that they get my fluids going so that I could get my epidural at 5 centimeters. And then they checked me, I think right before I got my epidural, and I'm pretty sure I was a 6 when I got my epidural. And I was having a little bit of back labor, but mostly it was in the, regular contractions. So they kept upping my Pitocin, and my water had not broken yet. So they went ahead and said they were going to break me. She checked me and she said, well, you're not really far enough, like, he's not really far down, so we're going to wait a little longer. And so I was like, okay. So we waited a little bit longer. She came back in, she checked me again. She was like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and break your water now. So she broke my water, and oh my god, I had so much fluid. I couldn't believe, like, I soaked through, I don't even know how many towels. They had to keep giving me more and more towels. It was ridiculous. A lot of fluid. And every time I would have a contraction, just even more would come out. It was crazy. So I had that done. I don't know how far along I was, maybe like 4 centimeters along at that point. And obviously after they do that, your contractions usually get stronger and stuff. So they started getting stronger, and every time I was having them, his heart rate kept dropping. So they they weren't really liking it, and I'm not really exactly sure what the reason was. I was kind of in a lot of pain by this point, but she said she needed to go ahead and put fluid back in, so they hooked up something, and they were pushing saline back in, and so I had saline going in, and then his heart rate kept dropping, so they went ahead and they put in an internal monitor on his head. So I just had a bunch of tubes. I went ahead and asked for my epidural because I knew it was probably going to take an hour, and I was already in pain, and I had all this stuff connected to me, and I was just kind of a little bit, you know, irritated or whatever. And so I asked for the epidural. Aubrey's coming. I'll get her to get my phone. I guess she's not coming. So I got my epidural, and it was working great for about maybe 30 minutes, and then there was a spot on my like low stomach that I was still kind of feeling contractions in. That was really painful, but it was just like one spot, so it was, you know, kind of bearable. And I told him that I was starting to kind of like feel my contractions, and kind of at this point, with his heart rate dropping like it was, I mean, not to say anything bad, like it's not like they didn't care, but it wasn't like their first priority to get me out of pain or to have the anesthesiologist come back and try and fix my epidural, which kind of doesn't make sense, because at this point they were talking about, you know, if it kept doing it, or if it got super bad, or if it got worse, you know, that we would have to talk about go ahead and having a C-section. And so I would have had to have my epidural fixed anyway, so I'm not really sure why, but they told me that, you know, that happens, so I don't know. So slowly I just kept feeling more and more like this little spot I could feel get bigger and bigger, and I could feel my whole stomach, I could feel my whole lower back. So she had me try pushing, and I was at like a 9, but she was kind of trying to get things really going, because she didn't, you know, want to go to a C-section. She's a midwife, and she kind of wants to do more as natural as possible kind of thing. So she was, thank you. The last thing I have on here is at 7:26 is when they broke my water. So I'm not sure really what time anything else happened. I was in a lot of pain after that. So she wanted to go ahead and get things kind of moving. She said she'd come back in like 20 minutes, and we tried pushing again. And at this point I was in a lot of pain. This had to have been probably maybe like 1:10 in the morning. So she came back about 20 minutes later, and she was like, okay, let's go ahead and start pushing. You know, if we can't get this done, you know, his heart rate's been kind of doing this for hours and hours. He might be getting, you know, tired, and maybe he's not really able to handle the labor. So we went ahead and we started trying to push again, and I pushed, I think there may be 2 contractions. I feel like it was maybe 5 pushes, and he was out. It happened very, very quickly. With Aubrey, I pushed for over an hour, and it was very hard. And with him, I think with him, I don't even think it was necessarily that I knew how to push, because I had done it before. Because I understood what they meant the first time that I was around pushing, you know. I think this time it was the fact that I wanted him out, and I did not want to have a C-section. So I don't know, maybe that's why. But yeah, he came and they put him on me, and the first thing that I said was, "Oh my God, he has hair!" So I was really surprised that he had hair, because Aubrey had like no hair. So they went ahead and they weighed him, and he was 8 pounds 3 something ounces, so they rounded up to 4. So he was 8 pounds 4 ounces, and he was 19 inches long. So he's my little short dude. Aubrey was 20 inches. What are you doing? But yeah, that is pretty much how that went. And he has been nursing really good. He's a very hungry boy. He eats all the time. And he's very strong. He likes to try and hold his head up. He loves belly time, loves being on his belly. If he could be, he would sleep on his side or his belly. That would be his preference, because that's his favorite. Like when he lays on my chest, he just goes right to sleep. And he has been, knock on wood, he's been sleeping pretty good. So that is pretty much all. He's 5 weeks old today, and I don't know what he's weighing or how long he is, because he doesn't have an appointment until he's 2 months old. Okay, so it kind of cut off on me, so I'm not really sure where, but that's pretty much it. He's 5 weeks old today, and just the cutest, sweetest little baby. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you him in just a minute, but that is all. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.